Chapters 8 through 14 of Genesis from the Holy Bible in Modern English. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by Ferrar Fenton. Genesis, chapters 8 through 14. Chapter 8. But God remembered Noah, and all the animals, and all the cattle which were with him in the ark. Therefore God passed a wind over the earth, and the waters dried, and he restrained the outpourings from the deep, and the belts of the skies, and stopped the torrents from the skies, and stayed the waters from going on to the earth. And so the waters retired and diminished from the period of 150 days. The ark then rested on the 17th day of the 7th month upon the peaks of the high hills, and the waters were retreating and subsiding until the 10th month. In the 11th month the tops of the hills appeared. Then at the end of 40 days Noah opened the window which he had made in the ark, and sent out a raven, and it went, wandered, and turned about until the waters dried away from off the earth. Afterwards he sent out a dove from him, to see if the waters had lessened from the surface of the field. But the dove found not a resting place for the sole of her foot. So she returned to him in the ark, for the waters were still on the whole surface of the earth. So he put out his hand and took her, and brought her to him into the ark. He then waited 7 days longer, and again sent out the dove from the ark. And the dove, returning at dusk, carried in her mouth an olive leaf which had been broken off. So Noah then knew that the waters were off the earth. Waiting yet another 7 days, he sent the dove out again, and it did not again return to him. At the end of his 601st year, on the 1st day of the month, the waters dried from off the earth. Noah then loosened the hatches of the ark, and looking out, perceived that the surface of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. God then spoke to Noah, saying, "Go from the ark, yourself, your wife, and your sons wives along with you, all the animals which are with you, of every kind, with bird and cattle, and with every reptile that creeps upon the earth, bring it along with you, and let them breed plentifully on the land, and cover it, and increase over the earth." So Noah went out, and his wife and his sons' wives with him, every animal, every bird, and every reptile creeping upon the land, according to their species, went out from the ark. Noah then built an altar to the ever-living, and took from every clean beast and from every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings upon the altar. And the ever-living perceived pleasant sweet perfume, and the Lord said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground to the labor of man, although the thought of the heart of man is wickedness from his youth. And never again will I cut off every animal I have made. During the whole existence of the earth, sowing and harvest, and cold and heat, and winter and summer, spring and autumn, and day and night, shall continue." Chapter 9. God also blessed Noah and his sons, and said, "Be prolific and increase, and fill the earth. And the fear and terror of you shall be upon every animal of the land, and every bird of the sky, with all that swarm upon the ground, and all the fish of the waters. They shall be given into your hand. Every living animal that moves shall be food for you. I have given the whole to you like the green herbage. But the flesh with its life, its blood, you shall not eat. And also the blood of your life I will require. From the hand of every animal I will require it. And from the hand of man, even from the hand of his brother, I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man his own blood shall be shed. Because I made man under the shadow of God. And be prolific yourselves, increase and swarm on the earth, and multiply on it." God also spoke to Noah and to his sons along with him, saying, "Now I myself will fix a covenant with you, and your descendants after you, and with every living animal that is with you, with bird and cattle, and with every animal of the earth with you, of all coming out of the ark, and with every wild beast of the earth. I have fixed my covenant with you, that all flesh shall never again be destroyed by a downrush of water, and there shall never again be a downrush to desolate the earth." God also said, This is the attestation of the covenant which I have made between myself and you, and between all animal life which is with you for every generation. I place my rainbow in the clouds, and it shall be for an evidence of the covenant between myself and all the earth. When there is my cloud covering the earth, and the rainbow appears in the cloud, I shall remember my covenant that is between myself and you, and between all animal life, and there shall never again be a downrush of water to sweep away all living. The rainbow shall be in the cloud, and appear as an eternal record of the covenant between God and all animal life existing upon the earth. And God repeated to Noah, "This is the covenant which I have settled between myself and all existence which is upon earth." Now the sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these three the whole earth was peopled. Noah then became a farmer, and planted a vineyard, and drinking of the wine, he became drunk and was naked in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and reported it to his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth, however, took a shawl, and spread it on their shoulders, and, going backwards, they covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were turned away so that they did not see their father's shame. So when Noah woke up from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan! A servant of servants let him be to his brothers." He also exclaimed, "The living God bless Shem, and let Canaan be a servant to him. God will extend Japheth, but he will dwell in the tent of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." Noah lived after the deluge for 350 years. So all the lifetime of Noah was 950 years when he died. Chapter 10. Now these are the registers of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, for they had sons born to them after the deluge. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, and Madai, and Eon, and Thubal, and Meshech, and Thyras. And the sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Thogarmah. And the sons of Javan: Eon, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and the Dodanim. From these they spread themselves over the sea coasts of the countries of the nations, each with their language amongst the Gentile tribes. And the sons of Ham: Cush, and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush: Seba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Raamah, and Sabtika. And the sons of Raamah: Sheba, and Dedan. To Cush was born Nimrod. Wild beasts began then to infest the earth, so he became a powerful hunter in the presence of the Lord. Therefore it is said, "Like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord." And the capitals of his kingdoms were Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh in the bushland. From that land Ashur proceeded to Assyria, and built Nineveh, and the town of the plains, and Calah, and Resen, between Nineveh and Calah, which is a large city. The Mizraim also produced the Lodim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, from whom sprung the Philistines, and the Caphtorites. And to Canaan were born Zidon, his eldest, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And each spread themselves as the tribes of the Canaanites. And the boundaries of the Canaanites are from Zidon by the valley of Gerar to Gaza, along the valley of Sodom, and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim to Lashar. These were the sons of Ham, in their tribes and languages, in the regions of the heathen. And Shem, the elder brother of Japheth, also produced. He was the father of all the sons of Heber. The sons of Shem were Elam, and Ashur, and Arphaxad, and Lot, and Aram. And the sons of Aram: Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And to Arphaxad was born Shelah, and to Shelah was born Heber. And to Heber were born two sons. The name of the first Peleg, because in his days the continent was split up. And his brother's name was Joktan. And to Joktan were born Almadad, and Sheleph, and Hazarmaveth, and Jerah, and Hadoram, and Uzal, and Diklah, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were sons of Joktan, and they populated from Mesha, by the valley of Sephar, a mountain of the east. These are the sons of Shem, by their tribes and by their languages, in their countries among the heathen. The above were the families of the sons of Noah, and their descendants by tribes. From them they spread themselves amongst the nations on the earth after the flood. Chapter 11. All the country was agreed for settled objects. But some of them marching from the east arrived at a plain in the bushland and halted there. Then each said to his neighbor, "Come, let us set to work making bricks, and see that they are properly burnt, and bricks shall serve us for stone, and petroleum for mortar." So they agreed. "We will build here for ourselves a city and a tower, whose top shall reach the sky. Thus we will make a beacon for ourselves, so that we may not be scattered over all the surface of the country." But a chief came down to inspect the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the chief said, "You see all these people are united in the same purpose, and having begun to do this, they will not be restrained from anything they determine upon. I will go down and frustrate their designs, so that one will not listen to another's proposals." So the chief scattered them over the surface of the whole country, and they abandoned the building of the city. They therefore called its name Babel, because it was there that the chief confused the designs of all the country. Thus from there the Lord scattered them over all the surface of the land. These are the genealogies of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when Arphaxad was born to him 2 years after the deluge. Shem then lived after the birth of Arphaxad 500 years, and had sons and daughters born to him. And Arphaxad lived 35 years, then had Shelah born to him. And Arphaxad lived after the birth of Shelah 443 years, and sons and daughters were born to him. And Shelah lived 30 years when Eber was born to him. And after the birth of Eber, Shelah lived 403 years, and sons and daughters were born to him. And Eber lived 34 years, when Peleg was born to him. Eber lived after the birth of Peleg 430 years, and sons and daughters were born to him. And Peleg lived 30 years, and Reu was born to him. Peleg lived after the birth of Reu 209 years, and sons and daughters were born to him. And Reu lived 32 years, when Serug was born to him. And after the birth of Serug, Reu lived 207 years, and sons and daughters were born to him. And Serug lived 30 years, and Nachor was born to him. Serug lived after the birth of Nachor 200 years, and sons and daughters were born to him. And Nachor lived 29 years, when Terah was born to him. And Nachor lived after the birth of Terah 119 years, and sons and daughters were born to him. And Terah lived 70 years, when Abram, Nahor, and Haran were born to him. Now these are the descendants of Terah. Terah had Abram, Nahor, and Haran born to him, and Haran had Lot born to him. Haran died before Terah his father in his native country, in Ur of the Chaldees. Abram and Nahor then took wives for themselves. The name of the wife of Abram was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and father of Iscah. Sarai was sterile, and had no child for herself. Terah, however, took Abram his son, and Lot his grandson, the son of Haran, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, the wife of Abram his own son, and departed from Ur of the Chaldees to travel to the land of Canaan, and arriving at Haran, they settled there. The lifetime of Terah was 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. The ever-living then said to Abram, "Depart from your native land and from the home of your forefathers to the land to which I will direct you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will prosper and ennoble your name, and you shall be a benefactor. And I will bless those who benefit you, and punish those who injure you, and all the nations of mankind shall become benefited from you." So Abram departed as the ever-living had told him, and Lot accompanied him. And Abram was 75 years old at his departure from Haran. Abram also took Sarai his wife, and Lot the son of his brother, and the whole of his property which he possessed, and the slaves which he had acquired in Haran. And he proceeded to travel to the land of Canaan, and he came to the country of Canaan. Then Abram traveled in that country to the village of Shechem, as far as Alon Moreh, and the Canaanites were still in the land. The Ever-living also appeared to Abram, and repeated, I will give this country to your descendants. So he there built an altar to the Ever-living who had appeared to him. Afterwards he removed from there to the hills at the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent with Bethel at the west, and Hai to the east. There he also built an altar to the Ever-living, and called upon the name of the Ever-living. Then Abram marched on his journey, and proceeded to the south. But a famine occurred in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to stay there for a time, as the famine was severe in the land. And as they were approaching Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, See now, I know you are a fair woman, and it may be that when the Egyptians see you, they will say, This is his wife, and they may murder me and keep you alive. Say therefore that you are my sister, so that they may show respect to me because of you, and my life may be saved by means of you. And on Abram entering Egypt, the Egyptians noticed that the woman was very fair. The courtiers of the Pharaoh also observed her and sung her praises to Pharaoh. The woman was accordingly taken to Pharaoh's palace. On her account he favored Abram, and presented him with sheep, oxen, asses, slaves, and maids, as well as she-asses and camels. But the Ever-living disturbed Pharaoh and his household greatly on account of Sarai, the wife of Abram. So Pharaoh summoned Abram and asked, Why have you done this to me? Why did you not inform me that she was your wife? Why did you say, She is my sister? For I might have secured her as a wife for myself. But now take your wife and go. And Pharaoh ordered his men about him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had along with him. Chapter 13. So Abram went up from Egypt with his wife and all he possessed, and Lot accompanied him to the southern pastures. And Abram was very rich in cattle, silver, and gold. Afterwards he marched from the south towards Beth-el, to the place where his tent had at first been pitched, between Beth-el and Hai, to the place where he had formerly built an altar, and there Abram called upon the name of the Ever-living. Lot also, who journeyed with Abram, possessed sheep, cattle, and camp followers, so that the land could not support them living together, for their flocks were so great that they could not live together. A dispute accordingly took place between Abram's shepherds and Lot's shepherds, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite, who inhabited the land. So Abram said to Lot, Let there be no quarrel between me and you, or between my shepherds and your shepherds, for we are both of us brothers. Is not all the country before you? I ask you to separate yourself from me. If you take to the left, then I will take to the right. If to the right, I will go to the left. Lot therefore looked up, and observed all the district of the Jordan, that it was everywhere well watered. Before the Lord swept away Sodom and Gomorrah, it was like a garden of the Lord from the land of Egypt to the valley of Zoar. So the whole plain of the Jordan pleased him, and Lot marched to the east, and they separated from each other. Abram accordingly remained in the land of Canaan, and Lot remained in the villages of the plain, but resided at Sodom. The men of Sodom, however, were very wicked and sinful in the presence of the Ever-living. The Ever-living said to Abram, after Lot separated from him, Look upward, and from the place where you are, take a view northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which you see, I will give to you and to your race forever. I will also make your race like the dust of the earth, so that if a man is able to count the dust of the earth, then he can number your race. Arise and march through the land. Inspect both its length and its breadth, for I will give it to you. So Abram struck his camp, and came and settled in the oak woods of Mamre, which is near Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Ever-living. Chapter 14. It was now in the reign of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of the Gentiles. And they waged war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shenab king of Admah, and Shemeber king of Zeboyim, and King Bela of Zoar. All these were defeated in the valley of Siddim, now known as the Salt Sea. They served Kedar Laomer for 12 years, but in the 13th year they rebelled. Accordingly, in the 14th year, Kedar Laomer and his allied kings defeated the Rephaim at Ashtaroth's Horn, and the Zuzim at Ham along with them, and the Emim at the Devil's Horns, and the Horites in the mountains of Seir, as far as the pastures which adjoin the desert. They then returned and came to the Well of Justice, and conquered all the plains of Amalekites, and also the Amorites who inhabited the palm groves. The king of Sodom accordingly went out with the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboyim, and King Bela of Zoar. And they commenced hostilities in the valley of Siddim with Kedar Laomer king of Elam, and Tidal king of the Gentiles, and Amraphel king of Shinar, and Arioch king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. The valley of Siddim, however, was full of petroleum pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah took flight and fell there. And the hillmen pursued, and seized all the wealth of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the whole of their stores, and marched off. They also took Lot the nephew of Abram, and his catels, when they marched, for he resided in Sodom. A fugitive then came and reported to Abram the colonist, who had settled at the oak woods of Mamre, the Amorite, the brother of Ashcol, and brother of Aner, who were confederate chiefs with Abram. When Abram heard that they had taken captive his relative, he then mustered the trained youths of his own family, to the number of 318, and pursued to punish them, and overtook them in the night time. And he and his followers defeated and pursued them to Hobah, which is on the north of Damascus. And he recovered all the property, as well as Lot his relative and his property, together with the men and the people. The king of Sodom then met him to congratulate him after his return from defeating Kedar Laomer and the kings who were with him at the Devil's Valley. Melchizedek, also king of Salem, came out to them with wine, and he was a priest of Almighty God. And he gave him his blessing, and said, Almighty God, creator of heaven and earth, bless Abram, and you thank the Most High, who gave your enemies into your hand. He then gave to him 1/10 of all the spoil. The king of Sodom also said to Abram, You have given me my life, so take all the wealth to yourself. But Abram replied to the king of Sodom, I have lifted my hand to the ever-living God Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth, against taking even a shoestring, or from taking anything that is yours, so that you may not say, I have made Abram rich, except what the soldiers have eaten and the share of the men who came with me, Aner, Ashcol, and Mamre. Allow them to take their share. The end of chapters 8 through 14 of the book of Genesis. Recording by Mark Penfold.